I find it really amazing how much we all kind of rely on smartwatches now. I remember when the first smartwatches really started to gain traction. I think, with the Apple Watch, that was kind of really the, I guess, the spark. And, when they first, came out, I thought, why do I want this thing on my wrist all the time? But there's a lot of features on smartwatches that I really appreciate now. One big thing would be notifications, being able to get email and text alerts on your phone, so that you don't always have to drag your phone out of your pocket or your laptop bag to check what's going on. So we had a chance to try out a cool watch from Huawei. They sent us the Huawei GT2 Pro. And I really like what they've done with some of the things that I need in a smartwatch. Just looking at it in general, you see it's a little different than the Apple Watch. It's got the round bezel. You can get multiple different watch faces as well, which is a great feature. So you can really kind of customize the look and feel. This particular one came with a brown-gray strap. It's using a 22 millimeter strap, so you can actually change to whatever color or style that you want. The case itself, pretty strong. Apparently they're using a titanium case on here and sapphire glass. So this thing is meant to be able to withstand a bit of a beating while you're out on the go. And you can see we've got the two buttons on the side here that basically control a lot of the features. The screen itself is a really bright, crisp AMOLED screen, and from using it, I found it obviously worked really well in dark conditions, but also out in sunlight as well. So inside the watch, Huawei's using their own Kirin A1 chip. I don't really have anything to benchmark that against other than just using the watch. So it seemed very responsive through all the features I was using and all the menus I was going through. There's also 4 gigabytes of storage on board. So why do you care? Well, if you want to store music on the watch itself and not have to take your phone with you, you can store up to around 500 songs, which is kind of cool if you're a jogger and don't want that extra weight of the phone in your pocket. So a big reason a lot of people are looking at wearables like smartwatches is the whole health and fitness aspect. For example, my dad, he has atrial fibrillation, so he wanted to get a smartwatch that had ECG capability in there to kind of measure his heart rate and the electrical aspects of that as well. For me, what was important were measurements of things like the heart rate and activity. Activity in the form of how many steps I'm doing during the day. And blending that in with the heart rate, that's a great way to also measure the quality of your sleep. This particular watch has something called their True Sleep, but basically it takes those sensors and the measurements and gives you an overall score of how well you slept during the night. So it kind of knows how to tell when you're in a deep sleep, when you have REM sleep, and also your breathing patterns as well. So it can't officially detect things like sleep apnea, but it kind of starts painting a picture of how well or not well I'm sleeping during the night. So you can take that information and talk to a healthcare professional and maybe even change some of the things that you're doing to improve on that. They also have something called True Relax. So it again takes the sensors and the measurements from there and lets you know when you're getting a little stressed out and gives you little notifications and exercises that you can do to actually kind of take the stress level down a few notches. So we talked about the heart rate sensor, also the activity tracker. If you're into fitness, for athletes, they also want to know their blood oxygen levels as well. So this particular watch, the GT2 Pro, has actually got something built in called a pulse oximeter. And this can measure what's called SpO2, the saturation of blood, the saturation of oxygen in your blood. So if you're like a triathlete or runner or cyclist, this helps you set goals of how high you want your heart rate, how saturated your blood is with oxygen, and it helps you hit higher fitness levels when you're doing the training. So one important feature that I want to talk about is battery life, and it's important because I try a lot of smartwatches out. Obviously Apple Watches, there's ones from Samsung and a number of other different manufacturers. But battery life is a big deal, especially if you want to be tracking your health and fitness during the day and then your sleep during the night. Sleep is super important to track now. It's something I do all the time. And maybe I'm stupid, but with the Apple Watch, I actually have 2 Apple Watches, when I'm using them and testing them out. And the reason is because the battery life, sure, I can get a day of battery life out of it. So that's good for taking me through the day and then tracking my sleep during the night. But then you got to charge it sometime, right? So if you're only getting a day, day and a half, I got to be honest, I forget to charge it all the time, and I have a dead watch. So I have an Apple Watch for the day, and I have an Apple Watch for the night to track my sleep, which, as you can imagine, probably gets a little expensive for most people. So the battery life on the Huawei GT2 Pro, it's pretty impressive. You can actually get 2 weeks of use out of it before having to recharge it. So, obviously, if you're doing different things and using certain features more, that battery life might shorten a bit. But this is good if you do want to track all day your fitness and health, and you want that sleep tracking during the night as well, and not have to worry about charging it all the time. If you are in the market for a smartwatch, if you're thinking that's something you want to do, definitely have a look at how long the battery lasts on the watch that you might be getting into. So let's cover all the things that you should be looking for in a smartwatch. But before we do, if you do like this video and you want to learn more about smartwatches and technology in general, subscribe to our channel and also hit the little notification button so that you know when we come out with new videos. Okay, so if you are looking for a smartwatch, there's some features that I would have on my must-have list. And keep in mind, 80% of people out there that are getting into a smartwatch probably aren't using all of the features. But they're kind of nice to have some of them. So number one, you got to be happy with the look and feel of the watch. I mean, that's important, right? Because watches for the past 100 years, it's all about fashion, right? So number two, what operating system or ecosystem are you going to be working in? So if you're in the Apple world all the time, maybe an Apple Watch is something down your alley. But if you are looking to have something that has a little more flexibility that will work on the Android side and the iPhone side, that's really important. For example, the Huawei Watch here will work on both platforms quite easily. Battery life, super important. If you don't want to have to be charging your smartwatch or wearable all the time, it's important that it does have a long battery life. So if you can get something that has a week or 2 weeks, trust me, you're going to love that because you're not having to charge the thing all the time. Also, the different sensors that are built into it. Pretty well most of the smartwatches out there now are going to have the basic ones, like the heart rate monitor and the activity tracker, how many steps that you're doing. I will tell you, you'll start finding that even if you're not into the whole fitness thing right now, you're going to actually get motivated by having one of these because it's going to be telling you all the time what's happening, like what your heart rate is, how many steps you're taking. So you might start finding that you'll appreciate some of the other sensors that some of the more advanced watches have. So one day you might want to have that SpO2 feature to measure the blood oxygen saturation in you. So it's kind of nice to have it there, knowing that it might be a feature that you're going to use down the road. I would also make sure that the watch is waterproof, and I'll tell you why. You might not be swimming laps all the time, but sometimes you might be down at the lake or just casually at the pool, or even forget to take it off in the shower. It's nice to know that it's not going to get wrecked if the watch gets wet. And just the overall durability. Make sure that they're using some solid materials in the smartwatch itself. For example, on this particular one, it's got like a titanium case. It's got the sapphire glass. The glass is important. You'll find that you actually kind of hit the smartwatch against things more often than you think. So you want to make sure that it's got that durability factor as well. So overall, there's a lot of choices out there. Make sure you do go with the brand that has been around for a while and that is into technology, and just find one that looks good and has some of the features that you're looking for. Hey, do you like this video? If you do, we've got a lot more. Check out some of these. They're on this side, right? Yeah? Okay.